Hello, beautiful friends, and welcome to Dearly Not So Departed podcast. Today, I felt called to talk to you about how you can communicate with your dearly not so departed loved ones. It is, to me, it's something that brings me great joy. It's a lot of fun. Of course, it's always done in a um, playful, lighthearted manner. And I'm going to just share a little bit about what my journey was like, even though on some level I've always known that our deceased loved ones were with us, like our guiding angels. And it's always been a beautiful thing. And I guess the first profound death in my life was my grandfather, my paternal grandfather, when I was 12 years old, 12 years old, I believe. But I still felt his presence and knew, but of course, there were I didn't know, I wasn't aware of any books, or there was no one I felt safe enough to talk to about my feelings. So I just kind of kept everything inside. And over the years, as people made their transition, my father, which was many years later, but there were some things that, again, it just confirmed what I'd always just kind of viscerally felt or esoterically felt, that we don't really die. Our bodies do expire, but our energy lives on, and we are still focused very lovingly and on the ones that we left behind, or the ones that are still on planet Earth. And it's just, I don't know, it's just such a beautiful connection to me. I find it incredibly fun. And so I want to share a little bit about what my journey was, especially with, it really came full circle when my husband made his transition in December of 2007. I had become, I'd been really diving into spiritual principles since, I guess it was 2002, with Louise Hay. And well, before that, it was even Cheryl Richardson, who was who was a coach. She's a coach and an author, but that was kind of my introduction. And then it was Louise Hay, and then it was, of course, Abraham Hicks. And the moment I, began to hear Abraham Hicks and read their books, I knew that, because it resonated so deeply within me, I knew this was truth for me. And I found it very soothing and comforting. So when my husband abruptly made his transition in December of 2007, my first communication that I remember from him was a few days later. It was, in fact, well, no, it was right away. It was actually right away, like within a day. And it was almost like, because I had a premonition, it was weird the day that he made his transition. That morning, I'd run some errands, and something like, I went by this funeral home, and of course, I've always been aware it was there, but something like moved me to pay attention to that funeral home. And then obviously, the next day or later that day, I had the need for, a funeral home. And so I knew exactly where the funeral was going to be. And while I don't, maybe that was him, maybe that was him when he was still physically present in his body. Or maybe that was because when he made his transition, I was not at home. But it was just really, I just remember thinking, wow, okay, that was wild. So they can get our attention, and more importantly, like, and I the reason I wanted to talk about this with you today is because I want you to understand that, yes, of course, you can use channelers, you can use mediums or psychics, or even I've had him come through in Reiki sessions. So, they can show up anywhere, but I also want, and it doesn't matter what stage of life they were in. For instance, my first grandchild was stillborn back at birth, back in 2006. And so, while I didn't have like a physical relationship with him being in his physical body, there was that spiritual connection already. And so, which was a beautiful thing. And he did communicate to me. It was a few days later, I'd gone to Walgreens to pick up some photographs. We had taken photographs holding him, and I had gone to Walgreens to get those pictures. And when I looked at the receipt, when I checked out, it said, "Hi, my name is Mason." Well, that was his name, was Mason. So I knew beyond any shadow of a doubt that that was my grandson. And he was just letting me know that, "Hey, Mimi, I'm here. I'm with you. I love you." So that's what that was about. So, and again, I want you to understand that it doesn't matter what stage, of physical humanness they were at. They can still communicate because it's energy. On the other side, it's energy. And remember, they don't have biology or bodies or anything. It's all just pure positive energy, or liquid love, like I like to call it. And, there's nothing, I find it so amazing knowing that once we leave these physical bodies, we leave behind any, worries or anything that, it's just, we return to pure positive love. And, we don't take negative stuff on the other side of us. At least that's my beliefs. There are probably schools of thought that do believe otherwise, and that's okay. But this just happens to be my belief. I'm all about focusing on lightness and love and happiness and joy and abundance and thriving and ease and flow in your life. That's what I'm all about. So anyways, but I want you to understand, and in the beginning, yes, I did, after he made his transition, even though, like I say, there was that message, and then I'm trying to think of what stands out. It was really about a week. It was about 10 days later, I had my family over for a little Christmas gathering, and I went outside by our pool, and he took care of the pool. I called him my cabana boy, and he just, he loved taking care of that pool, and that's what he did. And, I didn't really have any clue about how to take care of that swimming pool. And of course, when he was gone, then I had to find someone to do that, because I didn't know. I knew how to put water in the pool, because you just turned on the faucet and there was a pipe that was under the decking, and it would just refill the pool. So I went outside because there's a lot of people in the house, and I don't know, I needed a moment of peace and quiet. And I walked outside on the back porch, and I heard the pool pump was making this really odd sound. It wasn't a normal sound. And then I heard this voice, and it wasn't necessarily his voice, but it just said, "Fill up the pool tomorrow, first thing tomorrow morning." And so again, I knew that was him. I told no one because, number one, I didn't think anyone would believe me, but he was right there with me all along. And I want you to understand that, yes, and I did go and have some sessions with different kinds. I went to I went to a psychic. I went to like spirit circles where, there was a psychic there, and there was a whole group of us. And, he was chomping at the bit to communicate, which was amazing. And there was a woman at the same like metaphysical shop who read tea leaves. And so And I had never even heard of that before that time. And so I did quite a few tea leaf readings with her. And then I had a friend that she basically did feng shui, and she got messages from the angels, so angel messages. And he of course knew her as well, and he would communicate through her too. But it was just as time moved along, it was really amazing for me to understand and to realize that I didn't need that intermediary person, that I had. The power was within me to communicate directly with him and anyone, on any one of my relatives that had made their transition. And I just find, again, it brings great comfort and joy to me to know this. And I'm working on a little guide that kind of goes into more detail that I will be publishing on Amazon KDP very soon. And it's short and sweet because that's the way I like to do things. I don't like things to be complicated and heavy and hard to understand. But my journey, and then it just gets, it's like building muscles, or yeah, it's like building muscles. You just get used to, because you had the relationship with the person, so what is meaningful to you both. And that's really an important thing to understand. For me, it's our favorite, with my husband in particular, it's our favorite NFL football team. And I always have felt, I found I found it very odd behavior, because I would kind of watch football with him, but I really wasn't into it quite as much as he was. But because he was, glued to the TV every Sunday, every single game that was on, I would watch our favorite team, and then but I find it's funny, I find myself now kind of being drawn to watching a couple of more teams, and it's kind of interesting. And I always find it funny, but they are just as interested in what they were interested in, what they loved, and the people that they loved now that they're on the other side, as they were before they made their transition. So in other words, when they were still in their human physical body. And so I find that so soothing and comforting. And so I encourage you to get comfortable with this and just kind of check in with yourself. There's no training you need unless that you feel you want. I'm sure there are people out there. I never have taken a course. It's just something that came naturally for me. It just happened. It was just a natural occurrence, and it's just gotten better and better and better as time moves on. And he's always there with me, and they love it when they are always all around us. Again, I love to call them my guiding angels, because I don't think I need to be protected from anything. So they're my guiding angels, and they are always there for us. And all we have to do is have a conversation, have it out loud. If you feel comfortable doing that, most of the time, it's in my mind. So it's just conversations I'm having in my mind, silent conversations with them. Or there are times too where I'll sit down with my laptop and just write out some questions. And the other important thing is to be aware of any kind of attachment. You don't want to be attached to, oh, well, I want to see a sign of a cardinal. I mean, you can be specific. That's not the way I do it, but you can be very specific. But, a lot of times it's random, and sometimes you won't know who, you won't have any idea who it is, because sometimes, they are all, again, I want to remind you, in non-physical, they don't have any biology. So they don't have bodies, they don't have eyes, nose, ears, mouth, hands, digestive system, heart, any of that, legs, arms, legs. They don't have any of that. They're just like, I guess the best way, they're just energy, like a, I don't know, blob of energy. But the other thing to remember is that it's a collective consciousness. So it's not, they can step forward, as their individual consciousness, but it's a collective consciousness. So remember that. And but most of the time, I know exactly who it is. Sometimes it's just more general, but most of the time, because maybe I've been thinking about them, and so then something will show up. And so I find it very comforting, and I hope you do too. And I hope you will kind of lean into the idea of this and normalize this. I'm wanting to normalize these conversations and the acceptance of these beautiful relationships that are eternal, because I trust them wholeheartedly, unequivocally. They have no other motive than pure unconditional love. And I don't know, for me, that's all I need. And I love the playfulness. I love their guidance. I love their, the signs. And I've had so many. And some of that stuff I'll go into this new guide that'll be about communicating with your deceased loved ones. But I just, again, it's just something I'm very excited about. And please comment, like, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to this channel. I appreciate it very much. I'm bringing this content because it's from my heart, and I want you to feel loved and for you to feel like you are enveloped in a warm blanket of love from your dearly not so departed loved ones. It's very comforting. It's very comforting, and it's such a blessing and a gift. But yeah, so hit that like button, subscribe, please comment, reach out to me, send me a note if you are wanting more support or have specific questions that you don't feel comfortable posting publicly in the YouTube channel, because I'll be glad to answer any questions and kind of help you untangle it. Sometimes it's good that we have somebody to help us untangle it, but most importantly, there's no special skills needed, and you don't need to take a class, or you don't, if you want to, that's fine. Or if you want to use one of those, a medium, a psychic, a channeler, whatever, that's fine too. Like I say, I did kind of both, but I reached a point where, I don't need that anymore. And it was really a blessing. So let me know what your experience has been like. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Till next time. Bye.